Hello guys, welcome to 2021 and first of all apologies I could not stream for many days. There were some other challenges so I was not able to do that. I think I'll just try to arrange my screen a bit because it's going out of frame. Hold on guys. Okay, I think it's better now. Okay. Yep. Last minute arrangements. Okay. So, yes, good to be back online, guys. And I know I have been late on the streaming recently. There were a lot of things. So, apologies to all the viewers out there. We are live, and today, all the people that have requested us to analyze their games in this live tournament, we are going to analyze your games. Okay, so I am quickly sharing the link with everyone. Just give me a couple of minutes, guys. Meanwhile, we'll open up one game in the background which you can check. Okay, I think the game will be on right now, so you can check. You just couple of minutes. I am sharing the link with all the chess lovers out there. Just couple of minutes, guys. I hope all of you had a wonderful celebration on the new year. Okay, so forwarded on leeches now. Sorry, forwarded on the WhatsApp. Those who have just joined the stream, guys, I'm just waiting for a few moments just to share the live stream link in to with everyone. Okay. Okay, just guys, let me know if the audio and the video is clear so that we can I can continue the live streaming. Okay. So it's a rook versus bishop, and I think this is going to be draw unless one of the player blunders. That's winning for black now. That's winning for black. Abhishek Shrivastava is the first person. I'm just noting down the list, guys, who have requested to get their games analyzed. So Abhishek Shrivastava, you're going to be the first one to that we are going to pick up the name, pick up the game from. And then if I just go to the chat again, okay, I think that we are good now to start with. And so, okay, let's go back to the tournament now and try to find out. Okay, just making sure, guys, I'm online and my system is not responding. Just a minute, guys. Yeah, Mayank is there, and Mayank says there's a lag on YouTube. Yes, Mayank, I am just trying to see the issue, sort out the issue now. Okay, so Abhishek Srivastava is the first person. Then we have uh, KKF2. Okay, KKF2 is Abhishek Ashok Jain. Mr. Ashok Jain has requested. And then we have Dolzie, Dolsie. And then we have player 786. So four requests till now. And let's start, guys. Let's check what is happening right now and who is. I'm just trying to make sure that I am audible and visible to everyone and there is no lag. Okay. So, okay. So let's start. Abhishek Srivastav, let's check at your game. Let's check your games. Okay. So for some reason the chat is disabled. I need to check why the chat is disabled. No one is able to chat. Okay. Okay. So some problem with the chat, problem with the stream, but no problem, guys. We are going to analyze your games. Okay, so Abhishek Srivastava played three games. Let's check the player he has lost against TPP 177 and let's check what happened in the game. So Abhishek is playing from black pieces and DPP 177 is playing from black pieces, white pieces. Okay, so E4 E5, then the D4 and then D6. D6 I think is not a great move here because you are just allowing then white to capture your queen and white would actually get a better position because the king would just capture and lose the castling here after d takes e5. So d takes e5, d takes e5, queen takes, king takes, and bishop to c4, pawn f6, bishop e3, and this is going to be an endgame which both players have to fight a lot. It's not going to be easy. For example, now black is losing a pawn after bishop c5. So okay, he's be losing a piece straight away, c3. Okay, so that's the losing part. So, Abhishek, where did you go wrong in the game? Let's see that. Okay, in the opening, you should not have played pawn to d6. There is a better lines of capturing the pawn straight away on the d4 and then try to continue the game. That is actually giving you a better option. Okay, so just try to capture this pawn next time. So, for example, pawn takes pawn and c3, and here if you want, you can capture if you want to take some risk and you want to give it to white all the initiative. But you can play d3 also here. It's a simple move and then white would not like to play this position because there's a pawn on c3 and then again you would have to play pawn c4 then knight c3. So you can try this line, Abhishek, next time. Okay, and avoid getting into the bad position. So meanwhile I'm just trying to see what are the options here which can enable me to which will enable me to start the comments for you. Okay, so let's go to the next request. Next is kkf2, that is Ashok Jain. Let's see that game. Okay, kkf2, yeah, is online, and let's see how many games kkf2 has played. So kkf2 has lost against Ashwin Shenoy. Ashwin Shenoy is a very good player. He is a captain of BCC team and he also does live streaming on his Twitch channel. If you haven't checked, you can check his channel, guys. He does like beautiful live streaming as well. So Ashwin is playing from black pieces and kkf2, that is Mr. Ashok Jain, is playing from white pieces. Let's see what happened in the game. E4, E5, bishop c4, pawn d6, queen h5. So just this is all the beginners tricks that you're trying to do, meet over f7 and attacking the f7. That doesn't work actually against good players, like, which of course the 1600 1700 rated players, they know these tricks, right? So don't play these kind of lines against those players because you will end up losing a lot of moves with the queen, Mr. Ashok Jain, that don't you will end up losing a lot of moves with this queen. And after some time, black is going to get a better position because he would be ahead in the development. He would be able to capture your pieces or at least attack your pieces. Okay, so don't play these lines. Let's see what happened. Pawn e6 was played and then queen f3, and Okay, so queen f3 was played, and then we have knight c6, pawn d3, knight d4, queen goes back to d1. So that's what I mentioned, Mr. Ashokjan, that your queen went to h5, it came to f3, and it came back to d1. So you have wasted four moves over here for the queen, which was not necessary at all. Okay, so next time just try to avoid all of these queen h5 threats. You need not play this queen h5 and queen f3. Scholars made you need not play that. Okay, so next is knight f6. You played bishop g5, bishop e7, knight f3, pawn b5, and knight takes d4. Pawn takes d4, and then we have knight f3 back. So pawn takes queen takes pawn, and now white is having this open file. Although he's having the open file, he has wasted a lot of moves in the opening. So probably black is going to get a good position very soon now. Castles, knight c3, pawn a5, and generally the pawn a5 idea is to just, if you castle, black would play bishop e6 and do a double attack on the queen and the rook. So if queen moves, we'll just capture the rook on f1. So you have to be careful about these moves from white side. So you played a3 and bishop a6, queen moves now, pawn h6, pawn h4. Oh, that's a risky move, pawn h4 here, because pawn takes pawn, and then this there is no immediate threat actually of capturing or attacking the h7 pawn. But yes, in the long term, the queen might go to f4 and queen might go to h4 and trying to deliver a checkmate on h8. That was the idea behind this move. So Ashwin denies this knight takes g5, rightly so. Pawn takes g5, rightly so, because we don't want to get into any kind of complications. We are already winning. Black is already winning here. He has a very good development and he has very good piece placement. Black's White's king is actually not in a great position because he can't castle because of this bishop. He has to go on the queen side if he wants to castle or stay in the center. And at the same time, if he goes on the queen side, rook b8 and queen b6 are going to be immediately attacking white very quickly. Okay, so let's go ahead. Bishop e3 was played in, and knight f6 back, long castles, rook b8 immediately, as I said, rook g1, and then we have queen to b6 now. The b2 pawn is under attack, so it has to be supported. So pawn g4. Okay, okay. Pawn g4, and then we have queen takes b2 check, and I think this is what this is losing for right now. Queen takes c3, pawn g5, knight takes e4, pawn takes, and knight takes f2. That's interesting. Uh, Bishop takes and queen takes f3 check, king moves, and queen e2 check and mate. Okay, so good attack, Mr. Ashok Jain, but you have to also take into consideration your idea and attack was beautiful here, but you have to also take into consideration the safety for your king. If your king is not safe, this attack becomes useless because your king is always susceptible to checkmate earlier than your opponent's king. Okay, so that's the improvement for you. Pay attention on the king safety as much as you can. Okay, so now let's see, and let's see Dolce's games. Dolce is also has also requested us to check their game. So let's see what's happening. So Dolce is playing from which team? Let's see that. Okay, Dolce is playing from Gujarat Lions and played three games till now. Let's check the game with JS Kumar. Okay, let me just quickly check if I have any option to start the. Okay, okay, it's not giving me any options to start the comments. I'm just, guys, give me a couple of minutes. I'm just trying to see some options. YouTube has changed few options, I think, for by default. The comments have been turned off. Okay, let's see what happened in the game. Now Dolce is playing from white pieces and JS Kumar is playing from black pieces. D4, D5, and knight F3, knight F6. Okay, it's not giving me any option, guys. Sorry, guys. I'm just distracted by this YouTube thing. It's tiring. It's tiring. It's really tiring for YouTube settings. Okay, anyways, probably I think we need to manage without without the comments, yeah. So d4 d5 knight f3 knight c6 pawn g3 pawn c6 bishop to g2 pawn g6 castles bishop g7 pawn b3 castles bishop to b2 and knight to d7. Now double fianchetto is not bad, guys, but you have to have a clearer plan how you're going to proceed in the middle game. For example, here knight e5 could have been a good move, but the bishop on b2 is kind of not greatly placed. I would have loved to have the bishop on e3 somewhere so that I can go queen d2 and then bishop to h6, or even bishop g5 could have been a better option here, provoking h6 and then coming bringing the bishop back and queen c1, pawn c4, knight c3. That could have been a good option for me from white side. Okay, Mr. Dolce, and knight d2. So queen to c7, and we have pawn e3, pawn to e6, and then we have pawn c4, pawn c5, rook to c1, pawn to b6, bishop to a6. So now bishop a3 is again not a good bad move, but you have to think about getting the rook on the better square, getting the queen somewhere on the better square, and deciding where are you going to play the next plan. For example, knight e5 seems to be a good plan. If knight captures, we can go with the pawn takes pawn, and then if knight moves, suppose to e8, then we can go pawn takes pawn, and bishop takes pawn. So bishop b7 can be answered by then bishop takes b7, queen takes b7, and we would be pawn ahead, pawn up in that case. So you could have planned this knight e5, but bishop a3, I don't think it's going to make much impact. Let's see what happened in the game now. So bishop a3 and bishop b7. So after bishop b7, we are going to play. You played queen e2, rook c8, pawn takes pawn, pawn knight takes pawn. Okay, and pawn takes pawn. This is a very difficult decision, guys. Whenever these four pawns are there, it's always a difficult decision whether to capture, if to capture, which pawn to capture, or whether to hold and wait for opponent to capture the pawn. So right now, white chose to play c takes d5, probably because this he was expecting that this e pawn would come on d5, and then we can capture back this c pawn, and this d pawn would be weak in the center. But as the knight is not on c3 right now, we are not able to challenge the d5 square. So this exchange was not actually great, because now d5, control of the d5 square will more or less will be in hands of black. It would be white who would be struggling for getting the control over the center now. So pawn takes c5, knight takes c5, pawn b4, and bishop to a6, and now rook so this is a blunder, guys. So bishop a6, it's straight away a blunder because bishop is attacking the queen, and you had to get the queen back here to d1 so that this knight could have been captured on the next move. So that's what I think. White missed a trick here after queen d1. I think we are doing fine here. What not to play is queen e1 because of knight d3 again, because of rook takes c7, and then you can go knight takes e1. That, of course, again black is getting a piece, white is getting a piece here, the knight. But then again, I think this rook gets the control of the open file and may get better chances of attack. This bishop is doing well here. So yeah, so white missed a trick of this queen to d1. It was an easy winning probably for white later after, if he would have played queen d1. So rook d1 was a mistake here, and it allowed bishop takes e2, and then the game was lost. Okay, so okay, guys, just again give me a couple of moments. I'm just trying to get. Okay, so I'm just looking for the options here. Okay. Additional settings. Okay, guys, I'm just trying to check the settings for your chat to enable the chat, and it's not there. Okay, last time I was able to manage it, but today I think, yeah, live chat, I think, yes, enable live chat. Yes, I think I can. Okay, it has the options, but it does not enable me to, not allowing me to enable it. Okay. Okay, I have to set it for no and live chat. Live chat. Okay, save. I think the comments are now on, guys. Just can you just try commenting few things in the comment section? You should be able to comment now. So this is where time goes sometimes, guys. Sorry for that. I had to check few settings, and you should be able to comment now. Okay, so this is where the Dolce lost the game. Let's go back to tournament now and check what's happening over there. So next is player 786. We are going to check your game. Okay. Player 786. Okay. Uh, okay, I got it, guys. And I can you just try to chat in the chat section? Yeah, chat is enabled now. That's great. So now let's see Dolce's games. Dolce we have done. Player 786. Yeah, he you can see his games here. One of the games is going on live. Let's check this game, guys, which is live right now. And hold on, let me just pause this. Okay, so this is live now. Anshuman and player 786 are playing. Let's see what happened in the opening. Okay, so e4 was played by player 786, who is from Abhi Chess Club, and Anshuman is playing from BCC. His rating is 2056. So e4 d5, a Scandinavian defense. E takes d5, queen takes d5, knight f3, queen goes back to d8, knight c3, knight f6, bishop c4, and pawn e6, pawn d3. So pawn d4 is generally played, but pawn d3 also I have seen this line before. Pawn d4 is generally played, guys, but pawn d3 is a line I have seen this before. The idea I think later on is to go just castles and then go knight e4 if possible, and then if knight takes, pawn takes, then queen takes, and just the rook comes to d1. So that was the exchange variation which pawn d3 allows us to play. Castles, and pawn a6 now, bishop b3, pawn b5 and pawn a4, pawn to b4, knight e4, pawn a5, and now knight f6. I think this is all okay. This is nothing to be nothing special out there. So pawn c5 and pawn c2. So this is something which is not great. We could go rook e1 first before bishop c2, because black is going to play g6, bishop g2, g7 if this bishop starts attacking here. So there is no point in just dragging this bishop to c2 so early in the game, early in the middle of the game. First, we can go rook e1, try to develop our minor pieces, and then try to go knight e5 probably, and then queen h5 or some other moves. d3 I know is hanging here, but I think moving the bishop could have been a better option. Let's see what happened here. So here, if we move the bishop c5, then pawn takes pawn, and then we can go bishop takes c5, bishop takes a1, we can go bishop takes f1, f8, and that should be okay for us. I think even if this bishop is retracted back, or even if it is captured, we can just capture the bishop, and that should be okay for us, if not losing, and if not having any minus position. So bishop c2 now, and bishop b7, knight e1. Again, knight e1 I think is not a great idea here. Again, rook e1 could have been played. That was a better option. So knight e1 and pawn queen to d5, attacking g2 pawn now. Queen f3, and queen goes back to g7. Queen to again here I think queen h3 was a better option, because that gives us, okay, the game is done. Uh, okay, black won the game. Let's see what happened later on. Okay, so I'm just fast forwarding to the position that we were analyzing. And queen f3 or queen d7 and queen g3. Again, queen g3 is not a great move, guys. I think you should have played Mr. Player 786. You should have played queen to h3. Probably the idea is to play pawn d4 and then pawn uh, g6, and then you can go bishop e3 if you want, or bishop h6. Bishop h6, rook moves, and then you can go rook d1. Again, the idea is to support this pawn with the rook here. So if pawn takes pawn, bishop takes pawn, you are not in a bad position after that, because knight f3 is going to attack this pinned bishop, which is on d4, the rook is on d1, and the queen is on d7. So this can be attacked. Then e5 is kind of compulsory to just save the knight, save the bishop. Or black can play bishop takes f3, queen, then we can reply with the queen takes f7. That should be okay for us, guys. So yeah, queen h3 could have been a better option here for black, for white. Okay, so queen g3 was played, and then we have pawn g6, bishop h6, rook to d8, knight f3, knight c6, pawn takes, knight takes, and now knight e5. So this is kind of a dangerous position for white now, because the c2 bishop is hanging. D3 pawn is kind of attacked thrice, so it can be captured. It may be captured, we need to check that. B2 is hanging again, and the bishop is also hanging on h6. It's not going to be attacked soon, but yeah, we have to be careful about it. So slightly better for black over here, the position is. So knight e5, queen d4 again, queen d5 again, trying to threaten something on, trying to threaten now bishop takes e5. If queen takes e5, then queen takes g2. So knight g4 now, just trying to make sure that this exchange is not possible, and we are attacking the g6, f6 bishop. So bishop h8, bishop d1, and now white has finally decided to give away the d3 pawn. But these rooks are still not connected; they are not developed. So white is going to pay this price. Bishop f3 now, queen d7, and rook to d1. So the idea would be just to capture the rook, capture the knight, queen takes, and then we can go bishop takes b7. So pawn c5, bishop to e2, and bishop takes b2. Finally, this b2 pawn is fallen. It was hanging from a long, long time, but it's now gone. So knight to e5 now. Again, the knight on e5 is hanging. So bishop takes e5, queen takes e5, knight takes e5, and this is losing for white now, because black is simply piece up. Now two pieces up. So that's what happened in the game. So you played well, guys. You played well, Mr. Player 786. But the problem was, I think, knight e1. Your problem started with knight e1 move, and d4. Of course, d4 has to be played here. So try to play d4 and not knight c3 or d3 here. So let's move to the knight e1 position. So yeah, this is where actually your problem started. You need not play a4 here. First point, we don't want to play on the queen side. We want to play in the center here, or on the king side at the at the best. Okay, so don't play a4. Don't allow black to create some play on the queen side. You can just go a3 here. Don't allow black to play this annoying move b3, b4, and then get your knight into a bad position, right? So you need not play this a4 move. You can just simply play a3. That is your first improvement. Don't go for the first. Decide where you want to play, on which side of the board you want to play. If you want to play on the king side, don't move your pieces much on the queen side unnecessarily. If you want to play on the king side, only try to get your pieces towards the king side, probably in this way, or trying to play then c3 d4 and then getting this bishop to c2 and attacking this king side. But if you keep on pushing these pawns on queen side, then it's not going to help you or your cause. Okay, so avoid this, guys, pawn a4 like move. So let's go next. Yeah, so this was your improvements, and knight e4 was played here, pawn a5, knight f6, bishop f6, pawn c3, pawn c5, and bishop c2. I think this knight e1 move, again, this knight e1 move is not a great move, guys, but a great move, player 786, because you are disconnecting your rooks. I think rook e1 could have been a better option there, followed by queen e2, and queen can go to f1 in that case, just in case you feel that your uh, g2 is vulnerable with this attack. So you can play queen f1 as well, and then you can go for knight e5 after the after the g2 pawn is supported. Okay, so that's improvements for you, Mr. Player 786. Let's go back to tournament now and check what's happening. So next is Ronit, who has Ronit, I think, intermediate player. Okay, let's check his games. Is intermediate player 20? Yeah, let's check how many games he has played. So he has played few games. He has beaten say 1800 player, and he has lost against. Let's check this game which he lost against and what happened over there. So okay, black left the game. Okay, black left the game. Why did black left the game? Okay, e4 d5, e takes d5, knight f6, knight f3, pawn takes, knight takes, pawn d4, pawn c4, knight b4. Okay, knight a3, pawn a5, bishop d2, pawn e6, bishop e2 now, and bishop to e7. I think that there is a knight c6, some kind of line knight c6. I don't remember this. This is similar to one of the other variations that we get in Sveshnikov probably, which is a reverse of these colors. Castles, knight d3. Okay, rook to b1, knight f2, rook f2, and then here black left the game. So black was playing well, and there was no need to leave the game actually, Ronit, or intermediate player. You should have continued the game. Actually, don't leave the game, guys. You can resign or uh, don't just leave the game. Complete the game, guys, if whenever possible for you. Okay, so we are done with that game, and Kuljit is here. Okay, let's try to analyze Kuljit's game. Yeah, Kuljit is playing from BCC, okay, and his rating is 1947. He has lost against Sando Kannar. So I'm purposely picking up the games, guys, which you have lost, because then we can help you to improve somewhere. Okay, so Kuljit has lost against Sando Kannar. Let's see what happened in the game. D4, knight f6, bishop f4. So bishop f4 is actually a signature move of the London system player. So you should expect that this is going to be a London system game. Pawn d6 is again a sign of the King's Indian players. So g6 is expected in the game. So white can plan accordingly. Pawn e3, pawn g6, and pawn c3. Just guys, let me quickly check if everything is working fine. Yeah, I think everything is working fine as of now. If there's any issue, guys, just let me know in the comment section. I'll be happy to answer your questions. And if there are any questions, yes, I'll be happy to answer them. So bishop g7, and then we have knight to d2, short castles, bishop to c4, knight d7, knight e f3. After knight f3, we have rook to e8. Again, the idea over here is to go e4, e5, and try to get center control as much as possible. What white has done here is white has not followed the good idea of London system with knight c3 and e4. That is what we need to play. That is what actually it is recommended to play for London system players against the King's Indian. If you are planning to learn London system, guys, then you can check um, Badur Jova, Grandmaster Badur Jova's games. He's also a very good player of London system. He plays knight c3 in this King's Indian setup. Also, recently Magnus Carlsen had shown that how the London system can be used to win the game. So you can go to the databases and check Magnus Carlsen's game as well. Uh, the latest games from Magnus Carlsen, of course. So let's see what happened in the game then. Bishop f7 was played a sacrifice, okay, and king takes and knight g5. Of course, this e6 square is now weak, so knight e6 is going to be then winning for white. So that's a nice spot. So knight e6 and knight to b6 and knight takes queen. So in the opening where we went wrong, Kulchit is, let's see here. Rook e8 was premature. I think rook e8 should not have been played here. Probably you can go for c6 first. C6 with the idea, there are a couple of ideas that opening up the diagonal for the queen, and then you can go b5 as well, b5, a5, b4 that can be played. C6 can be played again just to make sure that you may have the option to play d5 later on in the game if you want to play that and if you want to block the center. Uh, I'm just thinking of other options. What black has here, c5. C5 is actually I've seen sometimes. So c5 is also played very frequently. Not sometimes actually. I've seen many games wherein black has played c5 against this London system after playing the fianchetto variation. That is a King's Indian, and this resembles or this goes like the Sicilian Dragon. Those players who like to play Sicilian Dragon, they would again find themselves in not exactly the same position against e4, but with the similar ideas and similar concepts that to play c5, if d takes c5, we can go knight takes c5, and then probably we can try to expand on the queen side. Okay, so that c5 is another option here, but rook e8 is definitely not an option, Mr. Kulchi. You can just improve next time if you want to improve from this position. So this is the position, Kuljit, you need to put in the engines on your studies and make sure that you are able to get a best continuation from this position. You can just click on the book here probably. Let's I'll show you how you can do that. If you click on the book, there are a lot of options. B6 is one of the options that is shown. C6 is the option, and if you scroll down over here, there are a few games which are in favor of black. For example, this and all are around 2500 or 2600. So a good games from higher rated players, and you can check how these have continued their games. For example, if you just click here, a game would open up and you can just continue and see what positions It was again, yeah, FM and GM were playing, so that's nice. So and here Queen E8 was played instead of Rook E8. Again, the idea is same. Go to pawn E5. So this is something new that you can explore, and this is the way I've given you the way how you can learn or improve your game, Kulchit. Okay, so just try to follow this. You can in next time if you get into same position, you can try to play Queen E8, and you can follow this game, H3 and then it's A6 probably, and going B5. Yes, so this is how you can continue the game. Yeah. Okay, Kuljit, so that's for you. Now let's go back to tournament. Okay. And okay, so far we have done with the analysis of all the games, all the ones that have been requested. So now let me just try to join the tournament and play a few games. Okay, guys. If you have any queries or questions, just let me know in the comment section, guys. I'll be happy to answer your queries or questions. And after I play a couple of games, I'll just try to analyze some games from the Khelo Chess India team. I'll just play a game or two, and then we'll go through the games. Okay, so a lot of players have joined today from Khelo Chess India. I haven't played a single game today, so let's try to play from Gujarat Lions. Let's try to play London System now. Okay, not a great move right now. Bishop has to be played to G3, and then knight E5 has to be played. Okay, I'm going to go F4 first. Just concreting this knight on e5. I want the player to capture something, this e5 piece actually, so that the pawn would come to e5 and then this knight would not be in a great position. Okay, let's take the queen and the rook would come to e1 now. So we would be setting up a good position to launch our attack now very soon. Pawn b5, black could try to attack here and try to create some chances. Now we have to go bishop h4 so that this knight can be attacked. So this bishop was actually a bad bishop here. Now bishop d7. Okay, that's interesting. If I play pawn f5, pawn takes and I can go knight c6 then. Okay, let's try to play this. Let's play pawn f5 here first. If this exchange happens, then I can go, yeah, knight c6, right? Knight c6 is good for me. Bishop c6 is now forced, or else I can capture the bishop on e7. Yeah, and now I can capture this f5 pawn, right? So bishop is not there on d7. Again, bishop d7 would be a bad move because of rook takes e7, bishop takes f5, rook takes c7, rook takes c7, and I will go bishop takes f5. So I would get a bishop and rook for my. Okay, so that's the position, that's the move. Pawn takes and bishop takes. So let's calculate now. Okay, so knight takes e5, d takes e5, bishop takes e5, bishop takes, and then this h4 is hanging actually. So we have to be careful here. We can go bishop e7 first so that the knight is pinned. Okay, let's try not to exchange this bishop and the knight. Okay, the queen comes and this knight is now pinned. So let's take advantage of this and let's try to get the knight into the game now. So this knight would come to e5 now and try to attack the f7 pawn. Bishop d7 is expected, but bishop d7 I can just play queen takes d5. So queen c6, queen d6. I can now go knight e5. Now the idea is to attack this g6 pawn. Okay, now bishop goes by f7 pawn, not g6. Can I go knight f7 now? Knight f7, rook f7, and if knight f7, the d6 is also hanging, right? So knight queen, so knight f7, and queen goes to e7 then, or c7. What would I play then? Right, so that's kind of tricky. Let's not capture the pawn. That is what black is expecting. Let's play rook e3. Let's not play the moves that black is expecting. If you play something that black is expecting, then black is going to be happy out there, right? So let's bring the queen back. Let's not try to exchange of the queens. Let's try to do the discovered attack on the queen. And next this rook will be joining in. Okay, queen moves. Let's go rook to f3 now, attacking the f7 pawn. Now I think knight takes f7 is making sense. Okay, pawn f5 now. Okay, that was desperate. And okay, where can I go now? Knight d7 is the option. Okay, time is running out. I need to play fast. I'll play knight c5 thereafter. Okay, and I'll capture this pawn so that I can. Okay, that's interesting. Let's capture the pawn now. That's a free pawn. Queen check. Let's bring the rook back, and now c8 rook is hanging. So I think I will be able to capture it. Yes, and I'll be capturing the bishop as well. Yes, and the knight as well on the next move. Okay, that sounds dangerous right now. That looks dangerous. Okay, let's capture and capture back with the queen, and I think they should be winning now for me. I have to play very fast now. Just make sure, guys, you capture all the pawns so that your opponent doesn't get a win even if you lose on time. Okay, don't keep any pawns over there. Just capture all the pawns so that it's going to be a win for you then. Yep. So black resigned. Now let's pause and let's go back to the tournament. So it was a fun game. Nice game, guys. Let's check. So King and Raj is playing from Khelo India. Let's check his game, guys. It's going on right now. It's one of the top games. And let's see what happened. He's playing against Ananda Kumar. He's from Saturanga Chanakyan. So let's see. E4, C6, and knight f3, Karo Khan defense. All the beginners out there, this is called as a Karo Khan defense. And there is a history of Karo Khan defense if you guys are unaware. Okay, so pawn d5, pawn takes, pawn d4, knight f6, pawn c3, knight c6, bishop d3, pawn a6, castles, bishop to g4, pawn h3, bishop goes back, pawn g4. This is not great actually. This is not a great move. You're castled here and you're exposing the castle, right? So that's not a great move. Knight d2 would have been a better option. Knight d2, probably rook e1, queen b3 is the way to go ahead. Then you can go knight e5. Bishop g6, bishop e3, e6 now, bishop c2, bishop to d6, knight d2, queen c7. I think black is going to win this one because this is a very dangerous position for white. Long castles, knight to b3, bishop c2, queen c2, and pawn h5. Immediately the attack has started. So knight e5 now, knight takes e5, d takes e5, bishop takes e5, pawn g5, and now we can go knight e4, pawn h4. Okay, pawn h4. Let's see what can happen over here. Do we have bishop h2 check here? Bishop h2, king moves, and there is nothing thereafter. So let's ignore that. Pawn f6, rook to c1, pawn takes g5, bishop takes g5, and now knight takes g5, pawn takes g5, and bishop to f4. Okay, rook e. This e6 pawn was hanging, so rook e8 was compulsory. Yeah, black won the game, but we are going to check what happened in the game, guys. Okay, so yeah, bishop f4 now, rook d1, rook e8. Rook e8 was kind of necessary because to support the e6 pawn. So queen g6 now attacking this both the pawns, and now bishop h2 check, king moves, and we have queen to f4. Queen f4 I think is not a great move because queen f3 check won't be possible immediately. Knight d4, queen h4, and yeah, knight. This was the idea actually. I missed this idea. It's nice idea, but then king g2, queen bishop goes back, knight takes e6. And now this is again a double attack on the knight, but it's been supported well with the rook as well as the queen. So nothing to worry there for white. King f1, queen h3, and now king moves, bishop. Yeah, that's a that's a check and mate. That's a standard check and mate pattern, guys. So should not miss this check and mate. So this is the position, and the problem is that the king can't escape to e2 because of rook takes e6, and then the queen is gone. Queen is supporting the e6 rook, and there is a check. Okay, so white would lose the piece and the queen over there. So a nice game from King and Raj. Let's go back to tournament now. Okay, so let's check the next game from Khelo Chess India's players. Target Pawn is playing now from on the second position. Let's check his game. Target Pawn. Target Pawn has beaten very many players. Let's check the one which he has lost. He has lost with Karthik Elango. Let's check his game with Karthik. So Karthik is probably from which team? Let's check that. Okay, it's not mentioned here. Okay, no problem. Let's see what happened in the game. So uh, target pawn is playing from white pieces. So e4, c5, pawn f4. Okay, knight f3, knight f6, bishop c4, knight takes e4, bishop. Okay, so this is where I think you made mistake. Knight c3 should have been played first here. And if you want to play f4 line, you should go knight c3 first, and then you can go f4. That would give you a better option because in black's d5 is stopped immediately after knight c3. So target pawn, if you are looking at this live stream, just try to play knight c3 first and then try to go f4. This is called as a grand prix attack. You can play f4, but I think knight c3 is better there. Knight c6, knight f3, bishop c4, knight takes e4. It's actually not a great move for white to just give away the pawn in the center. I'm just wondering if there is any trap here, but I'm not able to find any. Bishop d5, knight goes back, bishop c6, pawn c6, and black is certainly better here because black has got an extra pawn, and it's white has nothing special over here. White will actually keep struggling for the remaining part of the game, I feel. Oh, bishop takes f3. Why would black capture this f3? I would have just gone back to h5 and g6, just kept this bishop alive and not exchanged with this knight. Okay, let's see. Queen takes f3, knight d5 now, knight e4, and knight takes e3. Yeah, that's actually not great for white your target pawn. You should not be giving away the bishops in this way. Queen takes, queen d4, queen takes, pawn takes, and now black I think is winning here completely because black is pawn up and the ending has approached. So if black is able to exchange off the pieces, okay, that's a blunder again from white side that to giving away the free h4 pawn. So if black is able to exchange off his pieces, then it would be an easy win for black because in the end game black would be a couple of pawns up, and then there would be nothing that would stop black from getting a queen. Pawn g5, pawn f5 now, pawn h6, pawn takes knight, pawn takes g7, king takes g7, rook check, king moves. Okay, king moves again, and there is no check thereafter. So bishop. So black actually here the bishop was hanging. The problem is that if king g5, then rook can't capture the bishop because king can capture the rook then. And here I think you should have played pawn takes pawn so that at least don't lose this pawn and black won't get this passer. So rook, bishop g5, pawn takes, rook check, rook in between, and now I think it's winning for black. Yeah, that's check and mate. Okay, nice game coming to an end. I think very less. Okay, 8 minutes remaining now. I'll try to play another game now just for to contribute some score. Okay, so team is playing well today. Khelo Chess India. Thanks guys for playing for Khelo Chess India today. All the viewers out there. And if there are any questions, guys, just let me know. I have analyzed all the games that those players who have requested, and I'll just remind viewers that we are live here. And okay, we got a game. Lakshmi is playing from BCC, and now I think I can go knight e4 first, trying to attack this bishop. Let me have a sip of water, guys. Okay, that's interesting now. Let's go knight c3, bishop h7, king h7, knight takes g6, bishop g6, f g6, queen g6, bishop g7, and that's not helping me much. So let's go rook e8 first. Let's support the e4 pawn. If bishop takes, then I can just play this pawn. I think d takes c4 is... Oh, now I'm getting the pawn. Yes, let's go for that. I'm getting the bishop. Okay, queen takes, and I cannot play pawn takes pawn right now because the knight is hanging here. I'm just wondering what else can I play here. So queen takes knight, I can go pawn takes pawn, bishop takes rook, rook takes, and I would end up losing a couple of pieces there. So not a great option. Let's try to defend the knight here, and so that we can play pawn takes pawn on the next move. Queen takes c4. Okay, that was interesting. I did not expect that. Now I think I have the chance of going knight b4 first. Idea is to capture the bishop and then go bishop b5. Okay, bishop moves now, and what do we have here? We have to save this d5. This d5 is saved already. Bishop e7 is there, bishop e7, and rook c8 is not there. I want to... and okay, okay. What's happening over there? I am a pawn down, but I think I can manage after that. Let's go bishop f5 first. Let's not allow rook b8. I'll see. I can see rook c1 is coming very soon. Rook c, lovely. Okay, pawn a6. Now I have to go knight d3. That's forced for me. But queen c3, and I think I am losing a piece there. No, not yet. Okay, bishop takes. That might give me some relief. Queen c3, I can just bring the bishop back now. I actually need to attack these two pawns if I want to win from here. Okay. If knight takes, I'll have to capture back with the queen. Okay, he hasn't captured, so now I can go bishop to g4, h4. Idea is probably to go this rook takes bishop, rook takes knight. Okay, rook takes knight not working. Let's go g5 now. I can't just wait. Oh, there is a g4 move. I missed this one. I missed it completely, guys. I missed that move. And now I think I'm losing a piece. I've lost a piece and I'm losing the game now. Okay, f6 is hanging, so let's bring it back. Rook b7 will be played now, so I have to go queen e4 so that I can capture the knight, or at least some kind of threats here. I need to capture so that I can get some kind of threats there. Check and check again. King moves and queen f3. Idea is to go queen f2. Saved. I have to keep moving. I can't stop. Now I just can... okay, that's done. Okay, not a great game. Let's wait. Okay, Sonia Atharva is requesting for to get his game analyzed. Let's see Sonia Atharva's games. Let me pause first. Okay, so that... okay. Okay, let's check. Atharva is playing and he has played 3 games. He has won all of them. Let's check the last game that he's playing right now, the live game. He's playing from white pieces. Yep. And let's see what happened in the game. So d4, c6, pawn e3, pawn d5, bishop d3, knight f6, knight d2, and bishop to g4. So this is again, I think here Sony or Atharva is trying to go f4 later on in the game and play knight f3. But this bishop always remains a question mark that how this bishop is going to be used, because this is a Stonewall variation. Pawn f3, bishop h5, knight to e2, knight d7, castles, pawn e5, pawn c3, bishop d6, pawn f4. Now this bishop is going to get stuck for a long time. Pawn e4 now, and bishop, yeah, this bishop is now absolutely stuck. He has to go b6, pawn a4, and then he has to go bishop a3. So queen b6 now, queen e8, queen e1, probably this or this. So queen b5 attacking this e2 knight twice. So knight moves to g3, bishop moves, and now f4. This bishop is now trapped. Bishop g3. Okay. So white won the game. Atharva has won the game, but let's see what happened here. f5. This bishop is getting trapped here. So queen b5 was not a great move. He should have played bishop takes e2 here straight away. Queen b5. So this is the mistake for Roja Raj Kumaran. If you're watching the stream, Rosa, this is for you. Knight g6, knight g3, bishop g6, pawn f4, bishop takes g3, queen takes g3, knight h5, queen d6, and now queen to e2, pawn takes, and now queen e3 check, king moves, and long castles, pawn takes f7. I think here, instead of long castles, we could have gone this pawn takes pawn with the idea of knight g3 check. If queen g3, we can get the queen here. So pawn takes pawn might have been a better idea. Let's see, long castles, pawn takes f7, queen e2, bishop to d1, queen d3, bishop takes, and that's losing the second piece now. So I think this is now completely winning for white. Check and wait. Yes. Let's go back to tournament now. So in Atharva, we have analyzed your game as well. Okay, you have played perfectly, no problems in your game. We just corrected and suggested to your opponent how he could have played the game. So that's the results, guys. Fantastic results today. Saturanga Chanakyan has won the today's tournament 278 Khelo Chess India team battle with 173 points. BCC on 165 points and Khelo Chess India on 139 points. Gujarat Lions are on 126, Chess Blasters on 42, Abhi Chess Club on 33, and Chennai Chess Club on 33. Nothing, no one joined from Kings of 64 Squares. So a wonderful tournament, guys. 102